Hi guys, and welcome back to Catamaran IMPI, your friendly catamaran. For those of you who have come here to look at a specific topic, you've Googled it and it comes up in a tab. I've time-stamped different topics under the description of this video in YouTube. So if you're looking for a specific topic, then please just go down under the description of the video, click on the relevant topic, and it'll take you to that part of the video you want to see. Now, some people who look at Google Analytics for popularity on their channels, yes, I know that by doing long videos, Google Analytics picks up that you haven't been looking at the complete video. So it's better to keep videos short and more specific and get the analytics up so that your video is presented more. And so we do this for different reasons. So that's why we're quite happy to do it this way for those who wonder. Now guys, the last time we did a video, we were sailing up the east coast of Australia. It's episode 1 of this series. And we share a little bit there, some of the things we had to consider while we cruise up the east coast of Australia. We also share some of the beautiful places. We've now come to Thursday Island, which is in the Torres Straits right at the top of Australia, and we're getting ready to go to Indonesia. Now before we do this, I just want to say that we have done already 3 videos on our arrival in Indonesia. Party, party, party.
So you are the winner now.
I am the leader. A wonderful regent who is like the premier of the region. And he puts on this big party for us to welcome us there. So be sure to check that in episode 1 of Sailing into Indonesia. In fact, what I'll do is I'll leave the links up here for you guys to be able to see that. We then sail to Misool, which a beautiful place called Balbulol, where you sail between these majestic cliffs and you just anchor between these cliffs, and you can dinghy between them and swim in these beautiful blue pools. Huge, what they call Christmas trees, which are actually rock spires shaped like Christmas trees. And so we do a little bit of video there and capture the vibe for you a bit. We then sail up to Sorong, and then we move on to another island which is called Waigeo, and a lovely little marina there which is actually run by a bunch of South Africans. And they take us on these dive adventures because we're out of season there. We go on these amazing dive adventures, and we share some of this, some of the footage with you in episode 3 of that particular series. This particular video is going to cover everything from there onwards, but I'll touch obviously on those regions as we go through. Now, you would have seen in episode 1 that I mentioned there a rally. We joined the rally group going to Indonesia, and we have a party, and I shared that in episode 1. Some amazing people that were on that rally. So we actually signed up to the rally to just be part of the administrative purposes, to come and go as we want, and we actually broke away from all the boats in Kei Islands after the welcome ceremony, and we sailed out of season to Balbulol and northwards into Raja and Ampat. We wanted to cover that region. Okay, one of the things to know about rallies, they have benefits and they also have other issues associated to them. What we find is a lot of the time, if we're just a solo boat, we don't get sort of wrapped up in the politics that sometimes rallies can bring to your front door. Some boats who were not part of that rally believed that they were not welcome to a lot of the ceremonies that were taking place in Indonesia. Now, what really happens there is that the Indonesian Department of Tourism actually puts these shows on for tourists in general. It's not just for the rally boats. Now, that's actually kept a bit quiet because you think that all of these wonderful parties and experiences are put on specifically for rally boats, but actually they're not. So there's a wonderful guy called LESMANA, an awesome guy. I would really recommend boats who do not sail as part of the rally just to sign up with RAYMOND. He's going to look after you. You can communicate with him. He's an exceptionally good communicator to people. I will share more about RAYMOND and how he helped IMPI to get through the whole COVID situation when we sailed back for Australia. Took a few months. So guys, just remember that if you want to be just a lone boat going, and you'll hook up with other boats there anyway, just feel free to always join in with the rally boats. They are there because the Department of Tourism is putting on a big show, and you can be under RAYMOND LESMANA, under the guidance of RAYMOND LESMANA, and you can be enjoying all the shows that the Department of Tourism in Indonesia puts on, and they are spectacular, so be sure to do them. So guys, let's take a look. We're sitting at Thursday Island, we're in the Torres Straits, and sailors are talking to each other. We've all sort of hooked up with the other boats, and we're chatting to everybody there, and the one thing that comes out is that people are fearful of fishing nets. Lots and lots of fishing nets between Australia and Indonesia. So people are fearful of this, and there's a lot of chatter around this. I think almost all the boats, I think we just got lucky, but many boats hooked up fishing lines, fishing pieces of fishing net, lines, cables, whatever. It's quite a serious thing actually. And because these fishermen put out these long lengths of lines, some of them are actually unattended just due to the length and where their boats would be. They're just unattended at night, not properly marked, so you know, it's kind of like running the gauntlet, and you just hope to get lucky. What we did on IMPI was that we studied the movement of ship traffic, cargo ship traffic, big ship traffic. And the way that we did that was we went onto marine traffic, and we just studied for days while we sat at Horn Island, Thursday Island. We just sat there for a few days working out the general route on marine traffic where we could see these cargo ships were running. The AIS is obviously displaying their movement and their position, and so you can actually form a track and you can pick up a route, because we figured that where cargo ships are running, big ships are running, fishermen are not going to be leaving their lines out there, and that boats that were there were going to be boats that were trawling or on the move. So that was the next thing, is that Anna quickly Googled and studied Indonesian language, Bahasa, and she studied a bit about Papuan language because we're going to be going past Papua, and she got these sort of phrases for do you have fishing lines behind your boat? Just say yes or no. What type of fishing lines do you have? We need a gap between your boats. Can you maybe show us a gap to go through? And this proved to be really, really valuable when we sailed.
Fishing net, jaring ikan.
And the reason for this is because most of the yachts were thinking it's better to stay south in Australian waters. So you've got this Australian territorial waters where definitely fishing lines would not be left unattended, and fishing boats would be well marked with AIS. As it was, a lot of the boats in Indonesia were marked with AIS on the way there. But one generally feels that by staying in Australian territorial waters, it's going to be a much safer trip, and just take that last leg up to the north once you're out of Australian territorial waters, and then run the gauntlet there. This actually means that you're going south off the rum line quite a bit, and with southeasterlies you generally could run very nicely on the rum line. And so we wanted to run on the rum line. We did not want to stay south in territorial waters. And this is why we studied the movement of ships and thought, well, we'll hedge our bets and hope that they don't move the ships 20 miles to the south or 20 miles to the north or whatever. And so our journey begins. We studied weather, we've studied currents, we've studied ship movements, and we are going to rather be in ship lanes at the time and talk to ships because we can communicate with them, we can see them on AIS, and we'd rather have them to deal with than fishing vessels which are chasing fish and you can't speak to them properly because you don't know the language and you just don't know how the layout works, how they're fishing. The other thing that people are looking at are currents and tides. And because the Torres Straits is one of the most complex regions in the world, lots and lots of research has gone into this and there's no definite answer on it. But you've got basically the Torres Straits, which consists of shallow channels, channeling water between islands, and you've got these two separate oceans on either side of these channels, and they have different mean sea levels and different tidal cycles. So within these channels you can actually get diurnal tidal cycles, you can get semi-diurnal tidal cycles. So even the tides are working against each other, and the whole area is just, it's very difficult. Generally you find that there's a westward flow of movement of water, and that's because on the eastern side in that particular ocean you've got a higher mean sea level in general than on the other side. And you can understand that when you've got strong winds or storms, or you're in a La Nina year, just different geological, climate, all sorts of factors that actually affect the flow of water through the Torres Straits. So the one thing that local people look at quite carefully is a tidal station called Hammond Rock. And there's a lot of information on it. There's a weather site called Australia Weather Bomb, so you can just Google that. In fact, I will leave the links in the description below, how you can get onto this information. But there's a lot of information there, so you want to kind of work it out from there, and you want to do your homework on this because you want to get a good flush out of the system, a lot of speed going. You don't want to use too much diesel. Diesel in Indonesia is something that's difficult to come by. It's always available, but you've got to jerry can it a lot of the time. The quality of the diesel may not be terrific, and we covered some of that in our first episode. So you don't want to burn up your diesel, your good quality diesel which you're bringing from Australia. We carried a lot of jerry cans with us. I think you call them jerry cans, but cans to basically decant diesel into, and we just bought a bunch of them. The reason being is that we didn't want to also dispense diesel directly from pumps into the boat. We wanted to dispense diesel into jerry cans, lots of them, and then we wanted to filter that diesel into our tanks. A lot of polishing systems, you actually put the dirty diesel into your tank and then you polish it. We wanted to polish the diesel prior to it actually getting into the mothership's tanks, let's call it. Right, so with regard to these tidal streams, looking at this at Hammond Rock, a lot of the times we look at tides, and you can kind of work out what current flows will do according to what tides are doing. But here you can actually get a tidal stream prediction, a rate measured in knots, and they will tell you at what time what type of stream you're getting. And it's really fantastic because it's marked as a positive or a negative. So you can get these tidal stream predictions on the BOM website, and positive would be 80 degrees on Hammond Rock, west to east, and then the negative would be 260 degrees, and that would be an east to west flow at a certain rate in knots. The thing with these tidal stations is that they are not always perfectly accurate, and they actually make mention of that. So we were being sure to read the information that goes along with it. Okay, so Hammond Rock is above Hammond Island. It's north of Hammond Island, and we're going to be going south. We're leaving from Horn Island to the south of Thursday Island. We're going to be going south Hammond Island, south, and passing Goods Island before we get out into the open. So it's important for us in this particular channel, which is called Normandy Sound, I think it is. and we're going to be going through this Normandy Sound channel. It's important for us to look at a combination of things. Understanding where Hammond Rock is and how the tidal flow is going to, the rate of flow is going to be going through that channel, which is the Prince of Wales channel, and then try and assess how that affects the Normandy Sound channel. And one of the ways we do that is to also look at Goods Island, because passing south of Goods Island we can get the tide tables for Goods Island, so we know if we're on a rising tide or a lowering tide, and then we can compare all of this and make an assessment. Well, let's get out of here. Well, it was sad to be saying goodbye to Australia, a country we absolutely love with so many beautiful friends that we have made there. Getting out of the Torres Straits was fantastic. With our new Screecher that Evolution Sales had built for us, we were just moving. It was great fun. Sailing across the Arafura Sea to the Kei Islands took us 3.5 days. As beautiful as the sunsets look and going into the nights, this sea does tend to get lumpy due to all the currents and pretty shallow waters all the way across, and so one gets this sort of lumpy, bumpy type of ride. We did encounter fishing vessels along the way. We were able to negotiate with them and find a gap between them. Our radar also served us well here, just to see the general movement of fishing vessels. Marine charts are inaccurate here, so one has to have planned one's way in here. Paperwork and formalities entering into Indonesia can be quite tiresome, but RAYMOND makes it easy. The people here were extremely welcoming, so once all the formalities were passed, we were in for a good time. It was literally party, party, party. This fellow was sprinkling coconut oil all over us to welcome us, and it was just time to have a good time. In fact, we found it quite difficult to keep up with all the entertainment and the shows that they were putting on for us, and we were exhausted by the time we'd finished, but it was truly a fantastic time. I think all the sailors really enjoyed themselves. Okay folks, well, I've made a whole video on this, so you need to check that out. Kei Islands, just amazing, amazing people. Well, and then I've split away from the rally boats and we're heading for Balbulol. Leaving the Kei Islands has its own sort of difficulties. You can see here the pearl farms and lots of obstructions in the water, but it's all very doable. Well, because we've sailed out of season here, it's a lumpy ride, currents run wild, but once on the inside, it's really beautiful. I'm going to share the link of the video on Misool up here, so look at that for more details. Because Sandra and I have sailed here out of season, we have had the entire place to ourselves for the entire time that we stayed here. Not another boat to be seen, which we loved. Of course, sailing out of season in places provides a nice remoteness, but it also means sailing in some sporty conditions, which this place sure can make interesting. We find refuge in a little place called Seget. It offers a beautiful nighttime anchorage for us before heading up to Sorong. We arrive in Sorong. It's not always easy to anchor there depending on wind, so we anchor off this little island called Doom Island. We take the dinghy in for shopping, and we understand very quickly that it's important for one of us to remain with the dinghy. It's a little bit of a shocker in terms of plastic in the water and that type of thing, but you know, we're here for the experience and we're not here to criticize a country. We're here to enjoy it. But we do feel that we need to look out for the dinghy, and getting supplies means renting a scooter, getting a lift into town on a scooter or whatever. So we've felt that if we go across to Waigeo Island and stay in the marina there, that we can get a lift into town, and they have a nice market and we can get greens and supplies there. So we opt to leave Sorong as soon as possible. We're going to go via Yefman Island. And speaking of Yefman Island, we have a story to tell. We actually tell lots of people the story about our visit to Yefman Island. It's one of the first sort of stories that we actually have to tell, apart from the storms we came through and all this sort of thing. It's one of those sort of funny stories, but also a frightening story that we tell a lot of our friends. So, this was us in Indonesia with the boat, you see. Anyway, so we'd sailed up to Sorong, which was quite a rough trip getting to Sorong. Quite a rough place because we were going to get supplies there and that sort of thing, but it was plastic bags in the water, and you had to watch your dinghy because maybe your dinghy would get stolen, that sort of thing. So we decided, well, let's head around to this little island called Yefman. Yefman is just around the corner from Sorong. When we get to Yefman, Anna and I are sitting there enjoying the sunset, and it starts getting a bit dark. You know, the sun's gone down and it's getting a little bit dark at night. Anna and I are watching a comedy show on the TV, and we're sitting here, and Anna's got a little nightie on, so nice and nipply and all the rest of it, lying in a nightie over here. And I'm lying here, the lights are on, and anyway, we're laughing at, you know, this guy on TV. Yeah. And we hear laughing back at us. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't have stereo sound on this TV. It's very strange. Anyway, we lie there, cuddling a little bit. We're watching the show, and we laugh again, and we hear like laughter back at us again. And I'm like, this is weird. So I jump up out of the seat, I walk outside, I turn on the lights, and here's a fisherman sitting on the back of the boat. He's tied his canoe onto the back of the boat. He's smoking a cigarette now. He's lit up a cigarette, and he's watching us watching the show. So Anna and I were like, hey man, how does this work? Hey love? Yeah. And it's apparently they just do this in Indonesia. Well, it's all part of the fun and excitement of learning about new countries and new cultures. Well, now we're off for Waisai on the island of Waigeo, where we want to get supplies. Well, the marina here in Waisai proved to be an absolute treasure and a delight to us. It is run by the Meridian group, and they have Meridian Dive Adventures, Meridian Sail Adventures, and the resort right here. And it's just fantastic. They have fantastic diesel polishing systems on the dock, a group of South Africans. I'll share a lot of this in a video. I'll put the link up here again. And it's just a great place to get supplies at the market, fresh fruits and so on. A delightful place. We really enjoyed it. You took a flight from the desert. Another fantastic thing we did was to go with Meridian Adventure dives on various dive tours, and we could do this because it was out of season and they had plenty of skilled divers they wanted to keep in training, so they put together little package deals for us. It was absolutely amazing. So between diving from our own boat, because we have our own compressor and tanks, and a combination of that with these guys was just absolutely amazing to get to see the best parts of Raja Ampat really quickly. Well, it's time to move on. We want to get up to WAYAG, and to get there we go past this beautiful little island called Saonek. You can't help but pass it, stop over there and admire the little island. It's beautiful. Well, we're now heading for a place called KABUI PASS. And this is feared by many sailors, but yet it's something that sailors want to do for the challenge of it all, and it goes pretty well if one has done one's homework. To have control over the boat, we want to catch it on a flooding tide just before the slack tide. This way we are able to push into the current and hold some control over the boat. Well, it's not always like this, but this is the general rule. It usually flows from west to east, so one just needs to be aware of this and be very observant. The east anchorage of KABUI is absolutely spectacular, as you can see. Before we go into the pass, we're going to use the dinghy, and I'm following a local boat. It's probably the best thing to do, and this is a way to explore and understand how the pass actually is before we bring the mothership into here. Okay, this was a good exercise. I'm quite happy that it's all very easily done by a catamaran if one has done the homework, which we have. I'm going to see if I can leave a GPX file under the description for sailors who want to go through here in future. You can take a look at IMPI's tracks through here. Okay, so it's time to take the boat through the passage. I'm going to let the camera roll here for sailors who are watching this and haven't been there and would like to get a bit of a feel for the pass. It's a beautiful place, so it's worth actually recording a bit of it. IMPI is now sailing for Wofoh Island. Now Wofoh or Wofoh are two magical island treasures linked together by a long stretch of coral reef here in the North Raja Ampat Regency. The beaches are pure white and dazzling on a beautiful sunny day. Beautiful palm trees sway in a cool breeze and it's picture perfect. We are so fortunate to be here out of season since we have it all to ourselves. Out of season we were able to revisit this island many times over, and apart from the odd dive boat that brought people around here, we were the only people to enjoy this beautiful place. black-tip shark in the fish. There's a black-tip shark. He's been swimming here through the fish. Whoa, a big tuna! I love places like this. It's incredible to be able to stand ankle deep with a lot of fish swimming around you and watch these trevallies or big-eyed jacks, whatever they are, all part of the same family. And then you've got the reef shark, the little black tips, and they literally are just coming in here and feeding on the small fish. Small fish are a buzz around one's ankles, and yeah, it's just incredible feeling to stand in nature like this and to appreciate all that's going on. Absolutely magical island. We loved our stay here.
When darkness still ensues, I wanna be alive. Whatever we go through, I'll make it worth your while. 'Cause every minute, every hour, every day, I wanna make you smile.
Simply amazing. Just an amazingly beautiful place. We loved our time here. Well, now we're heading for a place that I've really been wanting to visit, and that is WAYAG. Uninhabited and incredibly beautiful, WAYAG is certainly an icon of Raja Ampat, and for us it's the jewel island of this region. Out of season, we're excited to think we will be one of the very few visitors to this place described by many as being one of the last standing natural unspoiled secrets of the world. WAYAG! Out of season, it's going to be awesome to have this pretty much to ourselves. We're excited. WAYAG, baby! Are you excited to be here? Never seen anything like it? Yeah, Terry would love this, eh? Absolutely magnificent, beautiful. There are few places to excite one to this level when arriving here. The near vertical cliffs that overhang the sea, the lush vegetation and turquoise blue waters that caress white sandy beaches. It's here, it's right here, and this will be our magnificent backyard for a while. So exciting. I thought I'd seen all the photos, I thought I'd seen it all, but I ain't seen nothing like this. There's no photograph that can capture this. we're out the front of the boat. We've backed the boat up to this beautiful little beach. Anna's jumped overboard with ropes in hand to tie us off. We've tied one to the bow, one to the stern. Fantastic job that she's done here. Now this is going to be our backyard for as long as it takes until we need supplies, I guess. We've got plenty of diesel. We carry a lot of diesel. People tell us there wouldn't be wind in Indonesia, and in fact we've actually been very fortunate with good wind. So we have plenty of diesel for our generator, for our air conditioners, and this is fantastic. There's no internet reception here, no communications unless you have satellite phone. So we're going to be remote and we're going to be exploring this beautiful place. We hope to share some of it with you. Unfortunately, this dinghy which we had bought was giving us a few issues, but we still managed to tour around the place. Fortunately, with a bit of mechanical knowledge, I managed to keep it going. Well, I think I'm just going to let the camera roll so you guys can capture a little bit of the vibe. I'm sitting here, I just can't explain how beautiful this is. It's just paradise. Let me share some of the sounds with you and the vibe with you.
See the clouds and let them be. Keep every story of your days a mystery. Hear the songs in the breeze. Sing out your wins and trials like a melody. Ride the storms with your head held high. We only breathe till the day we die. Bring on the fire, bring on the rain. Nothing can take you down. Crash it like thunder, steel in your veins. Nothing can take you down. Light a flame inside your heart. See every finish line before you reach the start. Raise your fist to the sky. Lightning and mountaintops are made for you and I. Morning comes when the nightfall goes. Don't turn back to the road below. Bring on the fire, bring on the rain. Nothing can take you down.
Okay, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. We can't share all the places we visited in Raja and Ampat. It's huge and it's beautiful, and you just can't do it all. These are some of the places. Now, in our next episode, we're going to be sailing from WAYAG down to Erebor. And this is a place that we are going to depart. It's a beautiful arty type of island. We'll share this with you in the next episode. We'll be crossing the ocean above the top of Banda, and we'll be going for Hoga Island. Right, guys, well, this is farewell from Catamaran MP. I hope that this has been enjoyable, and we'll see you all next time.
After many long months among the sea and the stars, New Caledonia is in sight of our bow. With a wheel in my hands and a thrill in our hearts, we've crossed this great ocean to our port is Wofoh. Moose comes running and greets us again. Our old friends or new friends, all we have and all we know, reaching out to learn more somehow. Fly every fly, the sea will work for our dolphins sing their songs as they play in the sun. The ocean runs through me like a vein of blue gold, and my heart is again stolen like the sea songs of old. Moose comes running and greets us again. Our old friends are new